Hey everyone, for these tutorials we're going to be designing a compass based off of a real-life compass, and we're going to be using a number of tools including chamfers and mirrors and things like that to create a compass with several moving parts. So it's going to be metallic, it's going to look cool, and if you're ready to move on, then let's get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and what I'd like you to do first, of course, is either select a compass from online, or you can use this compass if you suspect you know how to make it, or you can just follow along in the video, and I'm going to be designing this compass as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to create a new standard.ipt. I'm going to do a new 2D sketch on this plane, and we're going to draw the base of the compass, and I'm going to do that in 3 circles. The first one being an inch, the next one being 1.5 inches, and the final one being 1.75 inches. So it's going to look something like that. Let's finish this sketch and extrude it out. So the outmost part of this, let's go ahead and say is going to be extruded a total of 0.25 units, which might be a little thick, but we're going to roll with it for now and see what we can do with that. So go ahead, click OK. Your sketch vanishes, but remember it's just hiding under extrusion 1. So turn that back on. And next we're going to extrude out the other 2 parts and make sure it's on extrude, not cut. And we're going to retract this back to, let's say, 0.18. So it's going to look something like that, and that should give us just enough space for the compass components. So I'm going to hit OK. And let's go ahead and smooth out these sides. So we've used the fillet tool before. Now we're going to use a very similar tool called the chamfer tool, and the chamfer tool is cool because it won't round an edge, it will flatten it. So if I click on this, you're going to see what happens right away. It flattens that edge. Now it's a bit steep, and that's because the chamfer tools defaults to about 45 degrees. But if you want to change that, go to the second option. And first, I believe you select the face, and then you select the edge. And if you do that, you're going to have control over the degrees. So if we say something like 10, it might not work. Let's up that, or I think it is working, it's just so small. You can reduce the amount of chamfer, and you can also adjust the distance to try to get a better or lesser effect. So let's go ahead and say 0.125, like that, and then maybe a 15-degree angle, so that we have a bit of a chamfer here, but not too much. So I'm going to hit apply, OK, and now we have a pretty good base for this. And we can turn off our sketch, and then start another sketch inside of this. So I'm going to click on that surface, and let's go ahead and draw a circle on the inside, and we're going to say this is 1 inch again. And then once you've done that, use the line tool to draw out like a diamond. Oops. Just make sure it's all selected. Oh, and this diamond is for our arrows in the back, the black arrows, so that we can get the north, south, east, and west in there. And once you've done that, we're going to also kind of cut these in half. And then draw out 2 more lines. One line from the top to the side line here, so it looks something like that, and one, let's say, over here to one of these bottom lines here. And this is half the arrow, which is awesome. And we're going to dimension between these 2 lines so that it's very specific. And it's at 14 degrees right now. Let's go ahead and say 8. So just a very narrow arrow. And we're going to do the same over here. 8 degrees. And you might notice it skewed it for mine. That's perfectly fine. We have a constraint here called the parallel constraint or the vertical constraint. Just apply it to this line. Whoa, boy. Okay, and if that one doesn't work, use the horizontal constraint. It could be that my front is not oriented correctly. So now it's locked in place. This line can no longer move. And if I want to be double sure of that, I can also put a lock on it. The lock is going to make sure it cannot move. Okay, dimension, I'm going to double click on that one again and switch it to 8. And of course it moves everything else, so I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to select this line, and I'm going to lock this one in place, so it can't move anymore. And now hopefully, there we go. Yeah. Cool. So we have our 2 arrows in place. Now that we've done that, we can trim off everything we don't need, which all we really need are those 2 arrow pieces. So I'm going to trim off the rest here. And if it gives you an error like that, it's just referring to the degrees, but as long as we don't change anything, it should be okay. And I think I have the lines here. So that should be fine, but let's use the split tool just in case and put a split down the center so that these are all independent lines. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if it actually worked. I'm going to finish Sketch and try extruding these out, and both were successful. So let's go ahead and extrude one out at a time. I'm going to do this one first, and a total of just like 0.01 units. And then I'm going to turn my sketch back on. I'm going to extrude the other one out, a total of 0.01 units. And now we're going to do some trickery in a sense, but we're just going to use the mirror tool, which is located right over here. Click on mirror, select this portion of it and go to mirror plane. And then you can click on like this side. You can hit OK. You're going to notice that it creates that arrow for us. And likewise, we can repeat that with the second one. So mirror, select this portion, mirror plane, and then click on that and hit OK. You'll notice that it created that second arrow for us. Now, let's see if we could get the other 2. So mirror, select this portion, mirror plane, select that. Okay, so we have that in place. I'm going to suppress this one so we can see the other side. So if you go to mirror 3, right click on it, there's a suppress features option. Click on that. It's still there, it's just suppressed. And then I'm going to mirror the final one. Mirror plane, and this will be my plane. And then I'll hit OK. Then I'm going to unsuppress this. And we have an arrow in place for our letters. So I'm going to add some color to this so that we can see that better, because that's what we're going to do next. Let's go ahead, start another 2D sketch, click on this surface, and we are going to draw out our north, south, east, and west. So use the text tool, click on the top here, and we're going to say N for north, and select the letter, and then change the size. I'm going to say 0.18. And that turned out pretty well. It is the wrong angle, of course, so I'm going to use the rotate tool and select the letter, center point. I'm going to click at the middle of the letter. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and then I'm going to put that in place. So that's north. Adjust here. This will be east. Select it. 0.18. Put it in place and rotate it if need be. I like how none of mine were oriented correctly. Okay, so north, south, east, and west. That's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead, finish the sketch, and extrude out each of these letters. Even if they're there, they're not extruded, so they wouldn't show up in a true model. And 0.01 is fine for these. And now that we have all this stuff in play, let's go ahead and actually give it some more colors. So go ahead and color your compass how you see fit, and I'm going to do the same with mine. Something I should mention, over here you also have different material types. So you can go through these and see if there's anything. I'm going to see if there's anything gold based, like a glossy gold. Okay, so that's the front of the compass, and I guess I will turn off this sketch and then see you in part 2 where we're going to wrap this up. Okay, everyone? Peace.